The Cats are in town for the first time ever against upstart Oklahoma. The Sooners off of one of their most impressive wins of conference play in a comeback against top 25 Mississippi State. Well, the big news, let's not bury the lead with Richard Hendricks. I'm Roy Philpott. The return of Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler for the first time in almost 3 weeks.
Kentucky's getting healthy at the right time. Getting strong down the stretch. This will make this team very dangerous as you move towards postseason play.
Butler with a shoulder injury. We're going to see how much he can give head coach Mark Pope tonight. Jackson Robinson coming back from the wrist injury on that shooting hand. Back in the starting lineup at a critical time for the Cats, trying to position themselves for a deep run in Nashville and the upcoming Big Dance. And you take a look at the resumes and where everything stands today. Joe Lenardi, the ESPN bracketologist. UK has a 3 seed. Oklahoma, Richard, they're still in the bubble.
Well, it's a huge opportunity for them tonight against the Wildcats. They can get some momentum coming off a win in the last game, which will be big for them down the stretch.
Porter Moser, year number 4. And talked with his team at shoot-around this morning about the NCAA tournament. He said this is going to be like a game in the Big Dance. And Mark Pope, first ever trip to Norman for BBN, and away we go. Sooners and Wildcats meeting for just the 4th time ever, and for the first time as SEC foes. Lamont Butler, Jackson Robinson back in the starting 5 for the first time since February 8th, along with Carr Williams and Otega Owe, former Oklahoma Sooner, who's off the mark on his first shot. And for the Sooners, the freshman phenom Jeremiah Fields inside to Godwin, and the big man connects inside, also in the starting 5 for head coach Porter Moser.
Good start there for Oklahoma with a defensive stand, and then the patience of Jeremiah Fields to get in that fears and that screen row action to find Godwin for 2.
Otega Owe, the Euro, 0 for 2. Here's Spears, left open for a moment, off the back iron.
That's where Oklahoma can thrive, coming down in transition.
And Robinson attempting the 3, and an offensive foul on Amari Williams on the moving screen.
Tough foul there early on for Amari Williams. At 7 foot, does a really good job of facilitating this offense. Not set on that dribble handoff, and a foul headed back over to Oklahoma.
2-0 Sooners. Inside to Jalen Moore. The spin on Carr. Throws it up, and a foul called. It is on the floor. Well, I thought Moore actually kind of circled around Carr and using the arm got a little leverage there, but the foul goes against the Cats.
Yeah, Jalen Moore was fortunate to get away with a hook as he spun baseline on Carr. The foul goes to Carr.
So Carr and Williams with early fouls and a turnover. Robinson comes away with a steal. Behind the back, lifts a 3. And the rebound controlled by Moore.
Tough shot coming down in transition. A capable shot maker, Jackson Robinson is.
Here's the crossover. Out of bounds, and the Sooners turn it over again.
It's an up and down pace early on in this game. Jackson Robinson coming off of the injury, missing that one in Fears as well. The turnover. Both teams will have to look to settle down, particularly in the half-court set.
Trying to spot Carr inside, and Owe watches that pass sail out of bounds. Well, the importance of this game for the Sooners and for Porter Moser, with a win, the NCAA tournament chances springboard up to 71%, Richard. With a loss, it drops 26% down to 45 as Godwin picks up the foul. I don't want to say if you win, you're in and it's a lock. It's not. You know how treacherous this SEC schedule is. But a win would almost make up for the home loss to LSU 2 weeks ago.
Well, the big thing for Oklahoma is that you have an opportunity. In this league, you're playing against tough teams every night. And here's another tough team with Kentucky in your building. So the Sooners have big chances down the stretch to try to improve their situation to make a case for the tournament.
Otega Owe receiving a chorus of boos in his return to Norman. Well, this game has all kinds of subplots. Always return just one of numerous. You got former Dayton teammates going against each other this evening. The return of Jackson Robinson. His second three, and that's an air ball out of bounds.
Jackson Robinson's a really good shooter, but when you're coming off an injury, particularly one to the hand, you want to make sure you get some high percentage shots early on close to the basket. He has great size and athleticism. You want to drive one in there, see if you can get an easy one, and then grow your momentum and confidence from the inside out.
Sooners already 3 turnovers. They had 3 in the second half, the entire second half, in the comeback against Mississippi State here on Saturday. Moore tangled up and make it 4 miscues to start. Williams comes away with a steal.
Great recognition by Amari Williams.
Ahead to Carr, lays it up and in beautifully.
Beautiful play. Amari Williams did a great job being back to help on Jalen Moore. Comes up with the steal and then his head up in the dime in transition. Beautiful action, big to big.
I know you appreciate the big-to-big dime drop.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And Amari Williams has been playing high-level basketball in a role that's been different when you don't have the guards out there, and he's been handling it so well.
Fears in traffic, the spin, and the finish.
There's a look at what this freshman can do. He's matured throughout the season, and that was a strong move over a tough player.
Touch for Butler. He'll get it back. Over to Robinson, another 3. This time he buries it, and a good sign for Big Blue.
He was able to get his feet set, inside-out basketball, throw it into Amari Williams, commands the double team, makes a great decision to kick it out. Robinson knocks it down.
Cats grab the lead. Here's Duke Miles. Not sure what that pass was, but he got away with it. Bryson Goodine too strong. Fears. Goodine missed the tip. Carr comes away with it. And Butler's pass tipped out of bounds. No, Fears unafraid in a game like this tonight.
Well, he's been playing high-level basketball, and here he is once again against an elite-level defender. The nice move, turning around, spinning mid-air, shaping up and dropping that one.
Look at his performance last week. The SEC Freshman of the Week. 27 points, 10 assists in the win over the Bulldogs here.
Well, it's not only the production that he's had in the statistical category, it's the efficiency in which that he's doing it. The game is slowing down, and he's starting to make the proper reads from a playmaking position.
And an offensive foul. That's going to be number 2 on Amari Williams, who is grabbing his right leg on the deck.
Tough situation here for Amari Williams. For them offensively, but it's the defensive end that's going to get it done for this team. The rotations to the middle of the paint have not been there for either team. If you've seen strong drives all the way to the cup, they're going to have to do a much better job of showing bodies on their rotations and eliminating the easy baskets.
You asked Mark Pope about his defense today, not him personally, but his programs. And it's a work in progress, but the first thing he mentioned was their ability to handle ball screens. Brea, no. Godwin clears a rebound.
Well, it's a level that it's an area of the game that they're definitely going to have to shore up.
Goodine ties it up at 35.
And that's another one in the defensive transition, because you have to know where Bryson Goodine is coming down in transition. He's always locked and loaded.
And Amari Williams back on the floor. Remember, with 2 fouls, not 3. They pulled one off the slate after a video review during a timeout, and they gave it to Lamont Butler instead. Goodine makes his first triple of the night, and the foul is called against the Sooners. And Kentucky still not in the bonus. They will be the next infraction. So Godwin just picked up his second.
It's a big point in the game right here.
And McKee is going to pick up the foul. That'll put the Cats in the bonus. He held Amari Williams trying to break loose down the lane.
when we have to have much better technique if you're Mohamed Wagee, not grabbing at the hip and kind of shading the body to kind of be half around to get ready to get into the ball screen action, but also staying with your man. But with 3:21 to go in the first half in a tie ball game, this is a huge moment here for both of these teams. You're going to have to figure out a way to put together multiple defensive stops to get some separation moving into the second half. It's a critical moment right here.
Williams at the line, 64% on the season. He'll get the bonus. Now 2 for 2 tonight. We asked specifically of Mark Pope and Porter Moser today, what's the expectation for Robinson and Butler coming back? And Coach Pope said, we don't know how many minutes these guys are going to be able to give us to get their basketball legs back under. Remember, they haven't been playing a ton. They just started practicing really 2 sessions ago, and they were going to play it by ear, and we've seen a good bit of both so far.
Well, I thought it was a really good strategy by Mark Pope to put them in the starting lineup. These are areas that they're used to playing, but when you're coming off an injury, it's best to play in a 0-0 game than to have to come in the game and utilize more energy to bring a team back.
Williams and a blocking foul called. Oh, that was close. Wagee called for the foul.
And this was a tough one as Amari Williams seemed to go to his left. McGee rotating over, but it's the push off right there as the Oklahoma bench thought this was a offensive foul, which would have been huge for Amari Williams, with Brandon Garrison set to be checking in after that free throw attempt. It's those extra possessions as Mark Pope made a decision to put Brandon Garrison at the substitution table during the last set of free throws. If that goes one way and draw the third foul for Williams, could have been huge for Kentucky.
Northweather checks back in. He replaces Wagee, who has been surprising with his early production tonight. 4 points, 3 rebounds, all in the offensive glass.
Made free throw important for the substitution.
Cats 6 of 7 at the line. Williams goes out. Garrison back in.
Really good job by Amari Williams to weather the storm. Went off an early tweak of an injury. Foul trouble to get to the second half for him is very significant for the Wildcats.
Here's picked up by Garrison. Off the hezzy, and Garrison held his ground.
Great defense.
Elvis on Robinson. Garrison steals it. Robinson open from the wing. And for a moment, Elvis lost his shoe. He remains in the building, and Doug Shows allow him to put that back on and race towards the bench. And a timeout will be called of the 30-second variety by the Sooners. How do you lose your shoe in a basketball game, by the way?
I do not know.
That never happened to you.
Got to time up. It's just that simple. But, I mean, listen, maybe someone stepped on it, but more than anything, it's an opportunity for Oklahoma to get a reset. Porter Moser to dial something up here, down 3 points. It's a good possession for him to see if he can design something to do the clean look.
Their resume, 5 quad 1 victories so far. You go back to non-conference play and you ask yourself, okay, OU's 4-10 in the league. How is that good enough to be a part of the NCAA tournament conversation? It's because they beat Providence, and it's because they beat Arizona, and it's because of the victory against Louisville. You go back to the battle for Atlantis. That was a big deal and a bulk of quad 1 opportunities in those games, all of which they were able to win. And you see what's coming down the stretch. More of those same chances for the Sooners.
Well, what the SEC did in the non-conference put each one of these teams in great position for the tournament. But also the strength of the league gives them opportunities down the stretch to continue to improve that NCAA tournament resume.
Chandler the shove. Fears hit the deck, and free throws coming. Sooners in the double bonus. Jeremiah Fears at 84% set to shoot 2. Well, we talked to Jeremiah earlier today after shoot-around. coming off that 27-point, 10-assist outburst here in Norman against Mississippi State. We said, what was working so well for you over the course of those 40 minutes, and especially in the second half? He said, well, Coach Moser told me you got to play off at 2 feet. He was under control. The vision was great. Porter told us he had 10 assists. It could have been 16 with some chances that maybe were not executed properly by the shooter or Fears.
Well, he shot over 50% from the field in that last game, and he had that high level of point production. But the way he gets his points, he's such a physical and crafty guard that he gets to the free throw line at a high clip. 11 for 14 in that last outing against Mississippi State, and another 2 he just added right now onto the scoreboard.
Brea off the high ball screen. The hedge by Northweather prevented his shot. Now on Duke Miles. 4 to shoot. Brea contested 3, no. And out of bounds to OU.
Jalen Moore giving a little smile to Otega Owe as they come down the court. 2 former teammates battling for the rebounds. This is an important game that both teams are going to have to do a much better job on boxing out. You can't make it a jumping match trying to reach and tip the ball. You got to have to finish those possessions with strong rebounds, and the box out is very important.
Fears, a variety of moves in traffic, and the Sooners lead again for the first time since it was 4 to 2.
And see, that's a peak of that poise right there in number 0 in white. His ability to come down and be crafty is huge.
Owe.
I mean, a missed foul called on that strong drive.
Fears again, a little shake, a little bake, and Owe slaps it out of bounds. And an offensive foul is the call.
Offensive foul initiating the contact, but Fears on the previous possession, crafty with the dribble and that turnaround fake, beautiful move and elevating over the top in the mid-range. That's a high-level bucket by the freshman.
How much fun has this first half been? All the subplots, all the storylines, and OU in a must-win scenario to really enhance its chances for the NCAA tournament. Brea, the step-back 3. And Goodine lost the rebound. Noah grabs it away. Perry left open. Buries the 3.
Beautiful find by Trent Noah, and a no-look pass to the corner. Perry stroking it from the outside.
Trent Noah to Travis Perry. And so Perry makes his first shot attempt of the night. Cats by 2. Fierce. Brea clears. Shot clock is off. And a foul called on the penetration. Now the Cats will shoot a pair.
I don't understand that foul call. Right there, you have a high-level free throw shooter coming down. You're playing defense in good position. Play solid defense and force the last shot over the top. But to put Kobe Brea on the line to shoot in a moment like that, questionable decision.
Northweather picked up the foul. Brea gets one more. Lead back to 3. Colin Chandler back on the floor. And Perry, strong effort coming off the bench tonight.
6.8
we'll
seconds.
Head back there.
6.8 seconds after this free throw. Plenty of time for Oklahoma to get end-to-end and even take their time to find a high-level shot.
2 for 2 for Brea. And his former teammate at Dayton, Kobe Elvis, checks back in.
Kentucky putting a little pressure on. Great strategy by Mark Pope to slow down this transition look.
Fears on the move. Jeremiah Fears lays it up and in.
Outstanding end-to-end action by the freshman Jeremiah Fears. Elite speed, and he's able to get an easy layup at the cup.
Moore and Fears have been outstanding. And the Sooners trail by 2, 43-41, with Big Blue Nation in town for the first time ever. Halftime report headed your way now. Jeremiah Fears getting it done. Let's get you to Dari Nocum, Pat Bradley, and the great Dane Brown. OU in search of back-to-back wins against top 25 foes, and Fears and Moore, now they were dominant. Fast break points favor the Sooners. We talk about resumes and the importance of this second half. Oklahoma with the win tonight, their NCAA tournament chances explode from the mid-50s to the low 70s. With a loss, the exact opposite happened. So, at this late hour in February, all these games increase in magnitude and importance. It feels like those numbers tell the total story.
The NCAA tournament starts right now for Oklahoma. This is a must-win game that they have to increase their chances to play in postseason play. They've had a good second half of the first half, but they'll have to pick it up. This Wildcat team is really good.
Carr with a cut, and he's fouled inside by Moore. Porter Moser said that verbatim at shoot-around early this morning. He sat down, he spoke with us, always upbeat, in a great mood, high energy. Then he went to the baseline, which Andrew Carr is shooting towards right now, and he talked to his team, and he said, guys, this is an NCAA tournament game. You are chasing the tournament, and it's tonight against this team.
And it's on every single possession. In a game of this magnitude, I know people look at a game and say you have opportunities left, but you have to be dialed in defensively with all of the action that Kentucky's going to run. They do a great job of picking you apart with their 5-out offense. They backdoor cut you. They come off stagger screens. They go dribble handoff action, and Oklahoma's going to have to be extremely disciplined because when Kentucky's rolling, they're hard to stop.
Lamont Butler did get the start tonight for the Cats, and Fears is going to be fouled, and if that's Williams, that's his third. That'll be the second time tonight he's picked up his third foul, and it is Butler with 9 minutes. He was a part of the starting 5. Jackson Robinson also started. He begins the second half on the bench here, but 2 injured Kentucky guards coming back for the first time in the starting lineup since February 8th. They have played important roles so far this evening.
The luxury for Kentucky is in the injuries.
Goodine pulls the 3.
That's one thing you cannot allow is Bryson Goodine to get a clean look. He's been able to knock a couple of them down. Kentucky lost him in transition in the first half, and here he is on a designed baseline out of bounds play. Tien went up from the corner.
Williams back to the bench. Garrison back on the floor. Butler picked up by Godwin, outside to Carr. Off the fake, Carr drains a 3.
That's good action right there. And that play was created because Brandon Garrison flipped the ball screen, which allowed Lamont Butler to drive to his left, kicking it out to Carr. Carr with the ball fake and knocks it down.
And Kentucky, 6 of 14 now from behind the arc. Fierce, mid-range. Butler a rebound. Brea ahead to Owe for 3. And Otega Owe, 5 points so far tonight. And his last outing, the first time we've seen him below double figures this season for Kentucky.
You know, Kentucky can pick you apart, but it's the recognition. Look at Brandon Garrison, 10 in blue, flip that ball screen, and then the kick out, the ball faked by Carr, and he's able to knock that down in the corner. That's beautiful action in the versatility of the Wildcats.
Richard, he is just a shade over 32% on the season for 3. Owe, the runner. He's got 2 threes tonight, and that's the first point for Owe since there was 12:39 to go in the first half.
That was a strong drive and a phenomenal finish with the left, the traffic.
2-man game. Godwin hit the deck and lost the handle. Ahead to Carr. Outside to Butler. Brea, no. Miles finally pulls it down. Over to Fierce. Rejected by Garrison.
Good shot blocking skills by Brandon Garrison and letting them know about it.
He'll get it back on the other end. The big man running and a chance for three. What a sequence for big Brandon Garrison.
I tell you, if you're Brandon Garrison, you want to put this one on the highlight reel as he's able to get up high. Look at him. Getting the extension, avoiding the body contact.
Hey, don't hit your head on the rim.
Changes in and the concentration to catch that ball on the move in traffic and finish and one. Brandon Garrison with a big-time move.
And the Kentucky fans in the house making a little bit of noise. Garrison with 10 points off the UK bench tonight. Missed the free throw. Forsythe clears.
Now, this is a big moment here for Oklahoma. Didn't get out the gates as well in the second half. Kentucky on that 7-0 run to extend its lead. They have to do a good job of getting a quality shot.
Forsythe for three. Big shot for the Sooners.
Great shot and recognition by Dayton Forsythe. Shaping up and knocking it down.
Carr, too strong. OU gets it back. Moore's been held in check to start this second half. After a fast start. And more bump by Owe. Ortega picks up the personal. He walked in the arena last night, Ortega Owe, first time in 358 days since his last home game playing for the Sooners. And he said, yeah, it was nostalgic. Good memories here. And Porter Moser told us that he would talk to Ortega before the game and said loved recruiting him, loved his family. And he left for a bigger stage, a bigger spotlight. He has found it so far in Lexington.
Moser had nothing but positive things to say about Ortega Owe. A phenomenal two-way player with a defensive matchup right here.
Shot clock at 3. Fears forced it up, nearly banked it in.
Good contest by Owe.
And a chorus of boos will greet numeral 00. And he promptly turns it over. Cats get it back. Garrison up and in.
Brandon Garrison in the right place at the right time. Kobe Elvis with active hands on the deflection, but not able to come up with it. And Garrison puts it in for 2.
Little defense by the Cats there in the fast hands.
Well, that's what they're going to have to do to get this one done. This is a team that has, in my opinion, great length and positional size. If they can oppose them well defensively, it's only going to make Kentucky a better and more dangerous team as they move down the stretch.
Another block for Garrison. He has been active to start this second half. Butler. And out of bounds, it'll stay on this end. Well, if a little Brandon Garrison is good, more is better for BBN.
Well, one thing with positional size is Brandon Garrison, and he's been active. And when you're active, the ball finds you. Huge bucket there for the Wildcats. To get into the body, that's elite level shot blocking skills on display.
Oklahoma State transfer. Remember, he's from Oklahoma City. So back in the home state, certainly has to feel good to have this kind of performance for Brandon Garrison. Noah like a strong safety, able to bring it down. Wagia steal and nearly tap dance inbounds down the sideline, but he stepped out. So the lead at 7. We've mentioned Lamont Butler and Jackson Robinson back in the starting 5 tonight. We were just informed that Robinson is questionable to return. And that is the extent of that update. So Robinson, remember the wrist injury, and you can see it. He's got it wrapped up, that right wrist, the shooting hand. And questionable to come back in this game.
The injury bug has continued to bite Kentucky.
Williams, no. Fears on the move. More. Great look from Jeremiah Fears.
Really good heads-up basketball by Fears, putting the brakes on and changing his pace. recognizing the cutter as it developed, and he found more.
Butler remains on the floor with the crossover and attacking. Hit the deck hard, but pops right back up. And boy, every time you see a play like that, if you're a Kentucky fan, you hold your breath.
Keep your eyes on Zero White as he changes the pace and drops that dime with his head up to Jalen Moore. Beautiful play by the freshman, who has elite end-to-end speed, but his ability to change speeds and decelerating that last possession was huge.
You and I had an interesting conversation earlier today about coming back from an injury, about a shoulder injury in particular. And you told me, if you're Lamont Butler, you've got to think about what's happening out there. And it's important to note you don't have to be the hero in every circumstance, but you also don't want to play to not get hurt.
When you're playing a little bit gimpy, it's important that you play with your brain. And that means you have to be a step ahead of what's going to happen and not rely on your body and your athleticism and physicality to make plays. Butler's a veteran player. He's done a really good job. We get a peek at Jackson Robinson and as well as Butler on the bench. But he did a really good job of understanding how to use his brain in positions tonight to not put that shoulder in jeopardy of injury.
A very fine line to walk. He absorbed that contact moments ago. Pop right up. Here's a three, and it's Kobe Elvis. So the lead down to 4, 56-52. And you can start to sense a little momentum for OU in these last couple of minutes.
Well, this is a game for Oklahoma. If you want to keep hanging around, you understand that Kentucky can come at you at waves. They start to be a little bit short-handed with the bench production. But Oklahoma, you want to keep hanging around in this game into the final moments to make it interesting. But it's the defensive end. You got to get it done.
Perry, great cut, and Forsythe with the foul.
This is an absolutely beautiful pass. Amari Williams knows this offense like the back of his hand, and a backdoor cut and puts that pass right on the money. Travis Perry doing the rest, getting fouled, going to the free throw line.
It's an interesting moment there as Perry is the all-time leading scorer in the history of Kentucky high school basketball. And Forsythe won 3 straight state championships in Oklahoma, the Class 2A level at Dale High School. Lead back to 5, and don't forget, coming up Saturday, the final day of the regular season. It's March the 8th. Got a 5-pack of games, and the season will conclude. Talking about conference play with Oklahoma at Texas. What a great rivalry matchup. You see all the other great games, nationally ranked teams in action. Florida, Tennessee, and on down the line. It will all be on the line to see who can get the double bye in Nashville, and then who's going to be seated potentially #1 in the dance.
Great moment to sit back, relax, and watch all of the slate of games, because it's going to be tremendous action, a preview of what you're going to see in that SEC tournament, which is all going to come down to matchups and how you can get it done to see if you can be a champion in the tournament.
(58-52). Sooners back to work. Shot clock down to 5. Moore, a strong finish. Contested by Williams. No problem for Jalen Moore.
That's a major league move right there. Jalen Moore headed right down the lane and finishing up top with the left.
McGee had his arms extended, picks up the steal. Corner 3 for Goodeye.
That is excellent ball movement by Oklahoma. That was created by a solid screen of Muhammad McGee, which forced 2 Kentucky defenders to converge, clearing up Goodeye wide open in the corner.
The lead down to 1. Chaos in Norman.
Dialed up to see if he can get Kentucky some momentum.
Lamont Butler on the court. Jackson Robinson questionable to return after a good start in the first half. The right wrist is wrapped with ice. And that update coming moments ago as Williams is clipped by McGee.
It's a foul there on McGee as he disagrees. Reach switching in on Williams. It's a tough cover for Muhammad Wagee. You have to be able to be close to Amari Williams so far out because he's such a good passer, not for the shooting ability, but you have to have acts of hands to not allow him to pinpoint those backdoor passes for layups.
Williams hands it off to Barea. That's a three. Off the front rim. Butler skies for the rebound. To Williams. Great vision under the bucket.
Good recognition by Williams. And a nice pass for Butler. It's a huge bucket for Kentucky. Get some momentum, get a high percentage shot, and to put together some strings on the defensive end will be huge for the Wildcats.
Elvis picked up by Noah. Shot clock down to 8. Elvis lost the handle. He'll get it back with 3 on the timer and drain it. Tied at 60.
Tremendous poise by Kobe Elvis. Shot clock winding down. Handle wasn't tight, but he was able to collect himself and knock down a huge tray ball.
Lloyd Noble on his feet. Outside to Garrison. Not this time. And some words under the rim. Williams walks away. And a timeout coming.
Well, it's Kobe Elvis with the presence of mind and poise. Lines one up from the outside. We got a tie ball game, folks. Anything. As the season goes on, teams get fatigued, and if you're rested, then you'll give yourself a great chance in March.
8 quad 1 victories, significant at this point in the season. When you're ranking in the top 5 of quad 1 wins, and that's one of the reasons they're considered a 3 seed by Joe Lunardi.
Well, you know what they're able to do when healthy. Big wins against Duke, Gonzaga, Louisville, Florida, and Tennessee twice. I mean, this is a team that when they got it going, they're amongst the elite in the country.
Off the turnover. Elvis on Carr. Godwin lost the handle. He was on the move. Butler to Oweh. That's a 3.
That's a big shot, too. And a huge turnaround. The ill-advised play in a turnover for Oklahoma. And Otega Oweh makes them pay in transition.
And he's back in double figures tonight after not scoring in double digits in Tuscaloosa for the first time in his Kentucky career. What was the word he used talking with us today? I'm itching to get back out there after what happened Saturday.
And he's answered the bell. Otega Oweh with some strong play on both ends of the court. None bigger than that fast 3 ball to get the momentum back going in favor of the Wildcats.
Stays with OU, trailing by 3. Sooners have made 5 straight this end of the floor. Jeremiah Fears going to shoot a pair. How would you gauge his game and kind of what we've seen lately from numeral 0 and Crimson and Cream tonight?
Fears is fearless. I mean, this is a guy who understands. He plays as he's the #1 option. He sees shots that he likes, and he comes into the paint and takes them. He's a savvy player who understands how to use his body in space to draw fouls and get to the free throw line, and when he gets there, he makes you pay. He's a big shot maker, and as this game gets closer and closer down the stretch, you're going to look for him to try to turn it up because he really rises to the occasion in big moments.
Perry checks back in. Fears gets one more free throw as Butler gets a breather. Simple question concerning Jeremiah Fears. Is he or is he not a lottery pick this summer in the NBA?
Well, I've been able to talk to a lot of NBA executives and personnel here in the building tonight, and many of them are here to check on number 0 in white. His ability to be in the potential that he has is through the roof.
Good on Carr, both hit the deck, and Oklahoma forces a turnover.
And that turnover was created by the length of Jeremiah Fears. Active hands in the passing lanes, disrupting the ball. And Oklahoma is able to come up with it. Look at Fears denying the pass. Active hands creates the loose ball, and the hustle. Bryson Goodine, white ball. As you mentioned, it's those type plays that can make him a lottery pick to go along with the skill set that he has.
We asked him earlier today, who do you try to pattern your game after? Is there one or two players in the league? Fears, the bucket, Oklahoma back in front, and he said it's a combination of Kyrie Irving and Trey Young, the former OU standout.
And how he set up that ball screen, going open side and coming back and utilizing it, that allowed him to get freed up going all the way to the basket.
Carr, the pump fake. And Andrew Carr's going to shoot two.
Andrew Carr with a strong finish going to the line. But look at this. As Fears set up that screen going to the open side and utilizes the screen of Sam Godwin to go right down the lane. It's that change of pace, and understanding how to manipulate the defenders in a ball screen situation that is so impressive for a player of his age.
Looked like Kyrie on that finish. One more for Carr off the miss. Glenn Taylor on the floor, and a breather for Jalen Moore. And Moore now has 3 fouls. I think Fears has made some strides these last couple of games after OU's 5-game losing streak came to an end. 27-10 here on Saturday. Carr missed a pair. There's free food for somebody. Fears again, the lob, Godwin, the finish.
Beautiful screen roll action. Sam Godwin, one of the more physical screeners in the SEC, allowed Fears to able to come down, and he dropped it off and shared it with the big man.
Duke Miles. Sooners will get it to Taylor. Glenn Taylor, first points of the night for number 35.
Strong bucket, spirited drive to the basket.
And Mark Pope wants a timeout. The Sooners, in the midst of an 8-0 run in Oklahoma, has its largest lead of the game.
Well, Oklahoma's getting some good action. Look at this strong screen by Sam Godwin. Creates 2-on-1, and Jeremiah Fears with the unselfish play, dropping it off to the big. Great concentration by Sam Godwin to take on the chuck by Andrew Carr and still catch that ball and finish in traffic.
OU in the midst of that 8-0 burst in the last 90 seconds. And you see the heater that has happened from distance to begin this second half. Sooners with their largest lead. And here comes Jeremiah Fears. You look at his numbers tonight. 16 points, 4 of 5 from the line, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers and a steal. Fears finding ways to score, to involve his teammates. And when he's in takeover mode, OU becomes a different team.
They absolutely do. And the defense is going to have to focus on him even more as he starts to pick up the point production. But the unselfish play and recognition by Jeremiah Fears, you have to be on alert for him to make the proper play in the pick and roll to find the roller or even the skip man for corner threes.
Jackson Robinson remains on the bench. Lamont Butler on the floor. Cats back to work after the timeout. And Lamont Butler double teamed. And a foul called. Boy, Butler may have taken a shot off the forehead. And it's called on Godwin. So that's the third on Sam Godwin. Jalen Moore has 3. And the Cats in the bonus rest of the way.
Oklahoma triple switched that situation, and Butler recognized he had the big Godwin on him. Godwin was there, made good defense, but reached down at the last moment, and the savvy veteran Butler was able to get it up to get to the free throw line.
Lamont Butler, perfect at the line. Now 4 of 4. Don't forget Sunday, our final SEC Network women's basketball triple header. Georgia heads up to Rocky Top against top 15 Tennessee Gators, and #1 Texas at 2, and then Ole Miss and LSU at 4 o'clock. And keep in mind, Sunday, that Ole Miss LSU contest, we may have a coin flip to decide some business in the SEC tournament coming up in Greenville.
It's going to be a lot of fun and figure out who's going to be the top seed for the SEC women's tournament. Vic Schaefer and the Texas Longhorns been playing good basketball. Madison Booker, phenomenal player. Definitely got to tune in and check that out on the women's side.
Sooners have made 8 in a row, led by Fears. Outside to Taylor, thought about it, lost the handle. We had an open look for a moment. Glenn Taylor Jr., 26% from three-point range this season. No look dish to Oweh.
The closeout by Taylor Jr.
And a little jump hook in traffic. Oweh.
Good D, better O by Otega Oweh, taking advantage there with a nice teardrop in the middle of the paint.
He told us this morning this is a business trip. Coming off the road loss in Tuscaloosa, that is how he has treated it, with 12 points tonight, 5 rebounds. Goodine, he checked, still got it.
Have to be connected to Bryson Goodine. He's one of the top level shooters in this conference.
And the answer on the other end by Oweh.
Otega Oweh starting to get into a groove. When he gets a crease to be able to turn downhill, he's a load to stop.
Yeah, loaded 6'4", 220. And Oweh nearly ripped it away, a jump ball. It'll stay with OU. Bryson Goodine on a second half heater. He's got 4 threes tonight, and the Sooners with a 2-point lead. In a game that would mean an awful lot on ye old resume by the time we get to Selection Sunday. And Goodine, that heater in the second half, he's perfect on 3 attempts. Sooners 6 of 8 from distance.
Well, he's had some clean looks, and it's been because of the solid screening of Oklahoma, which has resulted in Kentucky having to have 2-on-1, and then the extra pass finding Bryson Goodine. And when he gets his feet set, you can count it.
The net metrics there kind of tell the story. The win tonight, OU's NCAA tournament chances boosted to 71%. A loss, they dropped down to 45. Currently at 55. Entering this game, Fierce. Moore is wide open. Brea clears the rebound right in front of Goodine.
That's a tough one. If you're Moore, you have enough time to maybe take one bounce, get your momentum going forward towards the basket.
I think he was surprised he was that wide open.
Yeah.
No Jackson Robinson so far in the second half. The right wrist remains iced up. Otega Oweh contested 3. In and out. Say it was a long 2. Bounced out either way.
And some contact on that attempt. If you're Oweh, you got to sell that one. That one could be easily drawn foul and get an opportunity for layup or for free throws.
Turnover by Fears. Oweh dunks it down. Tied at 71.
And that's a situation when you got to break away. If you're Sam Godwin, you have to impede the progress and get in front of Oweh. easy layups in this game are too important, but great job by Oweh with the recognition for the easy slam dunk.
Godwin with 3 fouls. Perhaps that was a reason. And Oweh now has scored 9 of UK's last 11.
Well, he's turned it up a notch, and there he is on the money, coming up with the steal and going end to end for the easy deuce.
I know you would have gone after the block there if you're running down full court.
Well, if you're Godwin, you have to step on him. You have to increase the angle and jump in front of him and at least make him come back against the grain. But even if you do pick up your 4th foul, it's the easy layups in this game that are so important to allow other teams, Kentucky, to get momentum. So it's an important play that you want to make teams have to set it up from the sideline or make a more difficult counter to get that basket.
Godwin 7 points, 5 rebounds tonight after 17 and 10 the other night. And Oweh in the return to Norman. First 2 seasons were played here. Native of Newark, New Jersey, before transferring to Lexington. And he's now starting to figure things out. 16 total points, 11 coming so far in the second.
He got off to a slow start, and you could tell that he was excited early on in the game, missing some bunnies around the basket. But he's caught his rhythm, he's settled down, he's picking his spots well, and you can see the ability of 0-0.
It's one of the few players in America that was double figures in every game this season before Bama. And tonight, he's back. Mr. Consistency has been tremendous. What a layup and a finish by Duke Miles.
Wow, he was able to adjust his body and lay that one up. Beautiful play.
Sooners back in front. Duke Miles, who had that nasty fall where he lost part of his teeth in the front. And the comeback win against Mississippi State got him fixed that night. Back on the court. You cannot question that young man's toughness.
Toughness on display in a tough basket he just had.
Goodine on Brea. How about the defense there for Bryson Goodine? And the rebound by Moore. Yeah, Miles literally giving this program everything he can. Fears the crossover. The extra pass to Moore. And it pops down to Oweh.
And a strong box out by Kobe Brea to keep Sam Godwin off that offensive board.
Skip pass from Oweh and a 3 by Chandler. Not this time. Garrison on the offensive glass. Oweh the spin and the finish. Otega Oweh.
Wow. It's Otega Oweh taking over the game. Great recognition and play on the closeout. Puts it on the deck in that patented spin move in the double clutch. Taking on the foul and one. Look at the adjustment in air, moves the ball around, finds the backboard, and gets that one to drop. Phenomenal play by Otega Oweh.
Missed the free throw. Ripped away by Moore, who fakes the pass right at Oweh, then gives it to Fears. You saw that too.
Hey, this is a game that's been a game all night long, and it's going to come down to the little things, and these players are competing.
And a foul. Butler was transitioning towards the lane. He will get called for the personal.
Muhammad Wagi sold that one very well. Sets the screen, and you feel a guard grabbing you on that roll. Pulls his arms up to show the official.
Lamont Butler just picked up the foul, and that's going to be his 4th. So Butler's in foul trouble. Moore the spin. He's starting to feel it.
Man. Oh, and he lets him know you can't guard me. Wow. A high degree of difficulty on that turnaround fall-away J by Jalen Moore.
Moore has 18. His former teammate Otega Oweh has 18. Sooners by 2. Now it's Oweh on Moore again. Wagi with a rebound. Boy, this is getting fun.
It is, and it's getting physical. Chippy, a little extra. This is playoff. This is a playoff game for Oklahoma.
And a blocking foul called on Butler, and he just fouled out. Lamont Butler called for the blocking foul. That is his 5th.
That is a huge foul. Massive for Kentucky. Butler in his return.
20 minutes on the court, 7 points, 6 assists for the Cats.
Tough one for Kentucky, but it's the other end. This isolation, tough move, fall away Jay for Jalen Moore, and it looks like says, "You can't guard me." Wow.
Butler's night is done. Jackson Robinson remains on the bench. And now the Cats are kind of back where they've been these last 2.5 weeks.
A lot of time left in this game. It's been some tough calls if you're Kentucky that have not gone your way on the road. But with 4:16 left, this is where if you're Kentucky, you're going to see what you're all about. You got a really good team. Oklahoma's playing for their life here. It's poised for a good finish.
Shot clock down to 9. Duke Miles in traffic outside to Moore. Nearly bounced in. Carr hit the deck. No foul. Cats down by 2.
Great defensive ball pressure by Oklahoma.
Garrison nearly a 5-second violation. Shot clock at 10. Away the dunk! And a free throw on the way. Away, oh, wow.
My goodness. It's been Otega-Oweh all night long. And the response that the Wildcat needed. Look at this spin move on the baseline and going up with authority. And one.
Career high in this building. He scored 20 points on 3 occasions as an Oklahoma Sooner. Now returning here for the first time in 358 days. A free throw gives him 21 and a new personal best in this facility.
What a response by Otega-Oweh. Coming off his lowest performance in the last game against Alabama. He's bounced back in his return in Norman.
Missed the free throw.
The adjustments that were just made in this last timeout by both of these coaches will be huge coming down the stretch.
And he was talking to Jalen Moore coming down the court after the miss. Those two have been going back and forth the entire half. Here's to Moore. Shot clock down to 6. Here's Duke Miles on Travis Perry. Miles. Not this time, and Godwin tried to tip it up and in. And a foul with a tug on the jersey against the Cats, and that's Williams.
That's Sam Godwin, what he does. You have to understand, on this team, his role is to be an active offensive rebounder. In late game situations, you have to know where he is and finish the plays with solid box outs. You cannot be a ball watcher.
Sooners get it back. And the hook around Oweh, who wanted the offensive foul. Instead, it goes against Otega-Oweh. His second.
The physical ball pressure by Oweh. I think that's a missed call, as he did hook. Jeremiah Fears got away with one.
And Otega-Oweh talking with Courtney Green, telling him exactly how he felt like that went down, and I think you and I would agree. So with that man, Mark Pope, with Fears now at the stripe. The freshman. In and out. Crunch time in Norman. Under 3 to go in a tie game. Oweh fouled again. And now the foul. We will see another player be disqualified, and this time it's Sam Godwin. So Godwin, after 17 and 10 Saturday, 7.6 rebounds. Not a bad night at the office when you look at the season numbers. He's been physical inside. And Richard, you talked about his game with our crew earlier today. You like what he does in terms of rim protection, and now he's on the bench for the final 2 minutes and change.
Well, he does all the dirty work. He sets solid screens for Fears and more to get freed up. He attacks the offensive glass to get putbacks. And he takes on big assignments defensively. Did not wall up and keep his verticality on that last shot blocking attempt on Owe. Owe to the line to shoot for two.
Cats back in front. In a game that has seen 6 ties and 6 lead changes. Colin Chandler back in. Travis Perry goes out for Kentucky and head coach Mark Pope. And we showed you the schedule coming up for both teams, and it's not like it gets a lot easier for either side, but number 1 Auburn awaits UK at Rupp coming up Saturday, 1 o'clock on ABC. Owe 2 for 2, and the lead is 2. When Taylor back in, McGee checks out with 4 fouls. And so Porter Moser wants to add a little offensive firepower on this possession with McGee on the bench. And Owe's going to pick up Jeremiah Fears.
Taking on the matchup of Fears.
Miles on Chandler in attack mode to Taylor. Shot clock at 8. Fears in traffic, and we're tied at 77.
Wow, that was a tough finish. Spirited drive by Jeremiah Fears to get that bucket to tie this one up.
Owe the spin. Cats back in front. Otega Owe with 23.
Beautiful. That spin move that he goes to creates so much separation. You're bouncing off of him, and that's all he needs, just a little crease to finish.
Under 2 to play. Taylor for the lead. Count it! Glenn Taylor Jr., 26% from behind the three-point arc.
And he seemed reluctant to shoot it, but when it left his hands, so much confidence in a huge bucket.
Owe, not this time, and Fears comes away with it. $80-79. Taylor thinking about it again. Not this time. Glenn Taylor is short. 1 minute remaining in Norman and a 1-point game, and Mark Pope wants a timeout.
Glenn Taylor Jr. with another look. Kentucky played the percentages and gave him the wide open look as he looks to his teammates and says, my bad. But Fears with the strong drive uses that shoulder to create some separation, shoots it over the top. Glenn Taylor Jr. with confidence lines one up in a huge shot for the Sooners.
59.6 seconds to go. The lead is 1. Owe's been on a massive heater. He scored 17 of Kentucky's last 19 with Lamont Butler fouling out, with Jackson Robinson on the bench. That injured right wrist iced up. And OU's three-point shooting's been a major story, along with Jeremiah Fears here in the second.
Well, OU has hit big shots to finally take the lead here late in the game, but Otega Owe is giving the Sooners all they want. Tough buckets. It's been a phenomenal game. It's been as advertised. These are two teams that are trying to find their way late in the season. Oklahoma needs this game, and Kentucky is not letting them get it easily.
It feels like Otega Owe can get anything he wants. Do you try to use that again, or do you utilize him as a decoy?
No, you keep riding the wave of Otega Owe. You have the game right now where you're in the bonus. He's been a strong driver. He hit his free throws as of late. He has a little bit of confidence, but you continue to go downhill, get back to that spin move to create separation and finish over the top. He has the physical advantage every time when he's going downhill.
A win by the Sooners would be enormous. A 71% chance, according to ESPN Analytics, to make the NCAA tournament if they can find a way to hold on to this 1-point lead. With a loss, it dips down to less than 50%.
Oweh asking for the ball.
Williams spots Oweh. Easy finish inside. Cats back in front.
Beautiful design play going screen roll with Williams coming off that great screen by Brea, and he dimes Oweh.
Oweh with 26 points.
This is great action, design play. They throw the ball into Williams, and you want to go screen roll, back screen by Brea right there, and it frees it right there. That screen, 3 players around Oweh wide open, bumped into the basket, and Williams finds them for a beautiful play by Kentucky. In the recognition by Amari Williams to find the hot hand. That is Mark Pope dialing it up in the clutch. Phenomenal.
7 ties, 7 lead changes, and Otega Oweh, who played 2 years here at OU, entered the transfer portal. No ill will towards Porter Moser, no ill will towards this program. Enjoyed his time and his growth in this facility, and on the return, he has been magnificent, especially in this second half.
Yes, he's been box office in the clutch. He's done all the right plays. He's been physical. He's picked it up when he's had other teammates to have to take a seat, and he's showing that he wants it. But Mark Pope had his chance right there in the last time with the clipboard to make it happen. It's going to be interesting to see what Porter Moser will have dialed up here coming out of this break.
Saturday is March 1st. Might as well be tonight because it feels like March and it sounds like March here in Norman this evening.
Oh, it's here.
Sooners get it. We've seen Fears. We've seen Jalen Moore. We've seen Duke Miles. What do you like in this situation?
Well, you got to get the ball in Fears' hand. He's been successful when you're able to run some ball screen actions and able to take advantage of that. Good defensive unit out on the court right now for Kentucky. They're going to make sure to make Oklahoma work for every last bit of it.
Sooners in the bonus. Fears on Garrison. Well, Garrison has held his ground several times tonight, defending the much quicker Jeremiah Fears. He'll get it back, 9 to shoot. Fears head down. Fears, the pump fake. Outside to Moore, running out of time. Moore, no, and there's the foul.
Strong defensive effort by Kentucky. A good, strong, versatile lineup out there, but it's the last effort by Jalen Moore putting his head down with a strong drive. Going to the free throw line. Clutch free throws here for number 14, White.
With his good friend Otega Oweh just feet away from him on the left side of the line. And you wonder if there's any words exchanged in this big moment. Clutch.
Mark Pope with a little substitution. Getting Travis Perry back in the game for offense.
And he just said, you all right? Moore, after making the first free throw with one more.
Gotta hug the gamesmanship. Game on the line. 2 former teammates been having elite games, having a conversation.
For the lead. He nailed it. 82-81.
Ice cold.
Shot clock is off, and here we go. 10 seconds remaining. Oweh on Miles. Otega throws it up and in. Kentucky back in front. Fears the other way. Timer down to 3. Fears blocked. Kentucky finds a way on the road. And hold on just 1 minute. There may be some additional business to settle. Brandon Garrison. There was some contact, and these veteran officials are going to have a look at how this game just concluded.
And I'm telling you, if there's something to look at here, the strong drive, Otega-Owe in the clutch, flips it back over his head. Wow. Look at this finish. Bodies all around him. That is unbelievable.
And then Fears on the other end. Got to the rim, rejected.
Owe got a piece of it.
And it was Garrison as well. A trio of Cats protecting the rim.
Now this is going to be massive. If the officials see something in this moment.
Doug Shouse, Courtney Green, Todd Austin. They're checking the time to see exactly how this game concluded, and if it did end, you see it goes off of Goodine. Brea corrals it. And Doug Shouse confirms after watching the replay, this game is over. And the Cats have found a way, 83-82 on the road in Norman. Richard Hendricks, what did we just see? This
was a phenomenal game. Outstanding action from the tip. And still a little bit of
jawing taking place. Owe and Godwin, former teammates. And then now they'll dap it up a little bit.
And this is one where you just have to ignore the handshake line. It's two teams that battled it out in a game that had huge NCAA implications for Oklahoma, but Otega-Owe was able to make all the plays down the clutch to get it done. Great ball game. Kentucky showing their resilience. And this is a dangerous team as they're starting to get healthy. And
Williams remains down 4 minutes in, and the lead is 1 for UK.
Get itself back together.
Also of note, Lamont Butler checked out 3 minutes into his first start in a couple of weeks. And Travis Perry on the floor. You see that brace on the left shoulder, the non-shooting shoulder of Butler. And that will be something to watch tonight. And we asked Mark Pope at shoot-around today, how long do you think Butler can go? What do you make of Robinson and how much he can give you? And he said, you know what? We're going to have to wait to see.
Well, he's done a really good job coming out early on. You can see he's moving very well. But it takes time to find a rhythm after you've been out with an injury. Butler will just have to continue to find his momentum and strength as he gets going.
Jalen Moore off the mark with a corner tray. Travis Perry gets his first touch. He's been the starter really for the last 2 weeks after Robinson and Butler were out since February 8th.
Well, the good thing for Kentucky in the midst of a lot of the injuries is Robinson's able to knock down another one.
Richard, he can shoot it.
He can, absolutely.
He's got 5 of Kentucky's 7 points. Cats have now made 3 in a row. Robinson, of course, multiple stops along the way. Arkansas, Texas A&M, and BYU, the Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year. And then now back in the SEC. Top of the key for Fears, and the runner off one leg.
Good action there by Oklahoma. Took their time in the half-court set, moving the ball from side to side, and Fears picking his moment to get to that mid-range J.
Cats by 1. Brandon Garrison, native of Oklahoma City, on the floor for the first time.
Good recognition by Garrison, not able to find the touch.
Jalen Moore, a couple of steps top of the key, no. 38% from downtown this season for number 14 in Crimson and Cream tonight. Robinson open again off the heel. Both coaches talk with us about transition defense. Fears had a chip shot, no. Wagee, no.
Good strip down low. McGee's got to go with the offensive rebound, put back up top.
Garrison lays it up and in.
Beautiful action by Kentucky. They've been able to find some things in transition by looking ahead. The bigs are doing a phenomenal job of rim running and making themselves available.
I love getting you excited about big men on the move, the outlet pass, and the fast break.
Well, I'll tell you the cool thing about watching Kentucky is whoever gets the rebound can look to the open man to outlet. All 5 players can initiate the offense.
Good eye. No! McGee, yes! And a chance for 3.
A huge putback by Mohamed Wagee, active on the offensive glass. In the last possession, not able to come up with the putback, but here he is, spirited on the block out, gets a tough rebound, takes the harm, and 1 opportunity.
Now, the Alabama transfer began his career at West Virginia. And Carr just picked up his 2nd foul, so Andrew Carr with 2. Amari Williams with 2 fouls early in this one, Richard.
But the positive thing for Kentucky is since they have had the injuries, they have established a little bit more depth in their roster. And it's a good thing because as they get healthier, they'll know that they have players that they can count on in extended minutes and in big games.
McGee 66% at the line. Miss the free throw there.
Production from the 5 position for Oklahoma will be critical in this game. 2 fouls early on the front line for Kentucky.
Garrison expected to have a nice contingent of friends and family in the crowd tonight. Outside to Owe, an 0 for 2 start for numeral 00 until now. And a chance for 3. So Tega Owe steps up in a big way.
Owe's been finally able to find one to drop. Been aggressive from the opening tip, but there he is getting that patented spin move, getting the defender on his hip, the strength around the cup, going to the line for the 3-point play.
Last 2 seasons here in Norman, we asked him what was it like coming into this arena for the first time in 358 days since his last home game here. He said, you know what, it was nostalgic. No bad memories here. Love the staff, just wanted to go to a bigger stage. And you see on the bigger stage, his production has essentially doubled.
Well, he has answered the bell as now that he's a part of Big Blue Nation, playing really good basketball, consistent scorer all season long. Had his worst performance in the last outing against Alabama, but here he is trying to reestablish the tone in a familiar territory.
Cats by 4. Northweather just checked in. And the big who can shoot it from the perimeter. Off the mark with a 3. And on the other end, Ansley Almanor. Too strong. Outside to Brea. Leading 3-point shooter in the SEC. Not this time. Owe.
The activity once again of Otega Owe on the offensive boards. And another look at it for the Wildcats and able to put it in.
And Richard, you think about how his season started in Lexington. Here's Taylor from downtown. Owe's first 26 games in double figures until the loss at Alabama this past weekend, only scored 2. We talked to him today and he said, you know what, guys, I'm itching to get back out on the court after what happened in Tuscaloosa.
He said it's a business trip to come here, and obviously he's been playing in familiar territory, some old teammates, but it's more so his performance that he wants to make up that he had against him his last outing and wants to continue to get back to high-level basketball.
Fears no, that's his 2nd miss at the rim. Lamont Butler checks back in. And the pass nearly picked off by Forsythe. And that is a full extension on the dive for number 7. Cats lead it by done. Great story last Friday night before the win against Mississippi State. The entire team went with Dayton Forsythe over to Dale, Oklahoma to watch his jersey go in the rafters after he led Dale High School to 3 consecutive state championships, Richard.
Well, we talked to Porter Moser, and one thing he was proud about this team, even in the shortcomings this season, they have stayed together and stayed connected. They've been able to get the win in the last game, and he hopes that type of connectivity will create some momentum for the Sooners.
Great sign for Lamont Butler. Absorbs the contact and a chance for three on his first shot attempt coming back from the shoulder injury.
The strong drive where he initiates the contact. Butler utilizing that screen roll, fakes it, goes all the way to the basket and able to muscle that one up. Huge shot for Lamont Butler for his confidence.
All right, you played the game at Alabama. You played the game professionally. What is it like dealing with a shoulder injury and then coming back? Because you had what he's had, right?
Well, most players, you've had some type of issue, particularly in the upper body. But, you know, he has one with the left hand. It makes you a little bit more hesitant a lot of times to use that shoulder to create physicality, to reach in passing lanes, and even extend to try to finish with block shots and rebounds. So you're always playing guarded. But if you can get a basket early on, it gives you the confidence to trust it. And that's exactly what he was able to do right there in the last one.
Sooners turn it over. That is their 6th of the half. And Porter Moser watching his team go down by 9 in Kentucky now in the midst of an 8-0 run. Kobe Elvis on the floor. Sooners will try to lock down Butler on this possession outside to Owe. How about the spin in the mid-range?
That's when Otega is able to get downhill and spin. He creates so much separation and contact.
Miles outside to Elvis. Under 11 to go. Elvis defended by Butler. Ahead to Owe. Tried to lay it up. I'm not sure he got caught between a dunk and a layup. And he missed it hard off the glass. And Jalen Moore. Three-point opportunity.
That's a huge swing in the favor of Oklahoma. What looked like was going to be an easy dunk by Otega Owe. They were able to take the other way. I think that's a close one right there as Almanor slid over. Might have been within the restricted area.
Jeremiah Fears back on the court. Jalen Moore looking for three the hard way. The Georgia Tech transfer. He's pretty good friends with Otega Owe. They were tight during Otega's time in Norman. We asked Otega earlier today, hey, have you texted Jalen at all this week? And he said, nope. Last time we talked was last week. And that's by design, given what's happening here tonight. He said, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. You know, you can't have your conversations with the former teammates. We'll shake when it's over. And that's the mentality that these players got to have.
So that's an unwritten rule.
Oh, yeah. You shake when it's over. We'll see you after, and we'll let our game speak on the court.
Moore with 3 points, his first bucket. Owe with 5 to start. Almanor, how about the bounce pass to Robinson? A thing of beauty.
Well, this is how Kentucky can pick you apart. Their backdoor cuts, their dribble handoff action. Beautiful backdoor dime there.
Top of the key, triple, splashes home for Moore.
Big shot there by Jalen Moore. Able to come off those pin downs and shape up.
Halfway home in the first, pass deflected, Moore intercepts. Jalen Moore dunks it home. Jalen Moore on a run. One possession game in Norman. Jalen Moore cleared for takeoff. And he had something to say about it afterwards.
That's a huge play. Jalen Moore's getting it going, and there he is. The lane parts. He's able to take it right down with a beautiful tomahawk slam. Phenomenal display of athleticism. Kentucky picking you apart in the half-court set. Almanor to Robinson, a staple in their offense. Very tough to defend, but Oklahoma has started to make a stand.
So Jalen Moore goes on an 8-0 burst by himself. Pull Oklahoma within 3. Cats call the timeout. And both coaches talked with us today about transition defense. And that was going to be priority number 1 for two teams, Richard, that play with pace.
Well, Kentucky's done a great job in their transition offense. They're getting the big man after the rebound. He's rim running right down the groove. Oklahoma has to do a much better job of ball pressure on the outlet passer and knowing where they are coming down in defensive transition to slow down the progress. The beautiful thing to watch is not only is Kentucky advancing the ball, but they're not doing it by way of the dribble. They're doing it by way of the pass, and it's been able to benefit with some easy layups.
Trent Noah on the floor for the first time for the Cats. Butler double team. He'll spot Williams. Over to Brea. And the leading three-point shooter in the conference buries the triple.
Well, that's great recognition right there by the Wildcats. Amari Williams catching the ball in that short roll with his head up. Found the shooter Brea in the corner, and he knocks it down.
Brea, of course, led the country in three-point shooting a year ago at Dayton. Beers to Godwin, back to Goodine. Seven to shoot, Beers. One of the foul. Godwin inside, and Sam Godwin.
Well, that's what Sam Godwin does. He's a screener, he's a roller, and an offensive rebound. And there he is with a huge effort play, staying after it on the O boards. No block out by Kentucky, and he draws a huge foul on Amari Williams for his third. Sam Godwin doing the dirty work.
And if you're Amari Williams, you have to know better, right?
Well, the first mistake, there was no box out on the shot. You have to find a body on a guy like Sam Godwin. His main role on this team is to go after offensive rebounds. The foul was created because Williams put himself in a poor situation because he did not box out. Ball watching, Godwin makes him pay, and a third foul for the point forward.
Mark Pope immediately directs Brandon Garrison to get off the bench. Williams gets it back. Got to be careful. He's bumped on the way up, and a chance for three. So the first bucket for number 22. And Garrison will have to wait.
Absolutely right. He needed to be careful. It looked like Moore was going to slide over for the charge, but he reaches in, and Williams makes him pay. A strong finish and a big basket for Kentucky to extend their lead.
So Garrison and now Travis Perry. See Mark Pope, what he's done so far. Year number one in Lexington, a rebrand of sorts. And we talk to Kentucky fans. I think that they are unified. They're excited about the direction of the future. Big Blue Nation, and you've seen it in spurts this year. Wins against Duke, Gonzaga, Tennessee twice, Louisville, A&M, and the list goes on and on. It's one of the reasons Joe Lunardi has the Cats as a 3 seed.
Well, Mark Pope was a phenomenal player who was a captain on a national championship team. He started to restore a lot of those memories and traditions within this team. The team has bought in. They believe in his system and his message. And the fan base seems to be behind this team.
So Williams to the bench, Garrison back on the floor. And we mentioned it is a homecoming of sorts tonight for Brandon Garrison from Oklahoma City. Keep in mind, Jackson Robinson, also the great state of Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma. Moore open again, buries the three.
You have to know where Jalen Moore is. He has the hot hand, knocking down shots, getting out baskets, going down the paint for easy finishes. Have to be a little bit more shifted to him defensively.
Moore's got 11. Brea inside has 5.
And that's a great hesitation dribble right there by Kobe Brea. He looked off Jalen Moore to the corner, put it on the deck one more time, and finished.
Off the screen, Duke Miles, a path and a layup.
And both of these teams shoot from the outside, and the defenses are respecting that. As you see, the paint is wide open when Kentucky operates in their offense. That creates a lot of driving lanes and backdoor cut situations for the Wildcats to take advantage of.
Garrison for 3, and the response. Just his 8th triple of this season.
And he stepped up and shot it with a lot of confidence. Huge shot.
Jeremiah Fears against Robinson. Brilliant finish with the left hand. Richard, this may be one of those nights where 80 points, 90 points, maybe more is what it's going to take to win a game at this pace, and the lead is 4.
They operate. He's been playing high-level basketball as of late. He's important for this team defensively as well. They'll need him to be out on the court.
You and I last worked together a year ago in the NIT down in Athens. Great game between Georgia and Xavier. I forgot, Richard, how much I learned from you on the bigs. Like, you are a big man extraordinaire. Fear's on the attack, and he draws another foul. But big-to-big action tonight. The rim runs by Amari Williams, by Andrew Carr, by what we've seen a little bit from Sam Godwin. I'm going to sit back. I got my popcorn ready, and I'm ready to learn a little bit more about life upstairs.
Well, that's how it goes. More often, people want to watch the guards and how they're able to move.
I'm guilty.
But it's like football. You know, you want to watch the running backs, the wide receivers, the quarterbacks do all the skill.
I do.
But you got to get it done in the trenches. And these are the type games that are going to be won with some physical play. Kentucky has done a really good job early on of taking advantage of getting out in transition with deep rim runs. The guards have rewarded them with easy buckets down low. But the physicality of this game is going to have to pick up. Too many easy baskets for both teams getting all the way to the basket. Going to have to roll over, slide over in defensive rotation and help out.
Sooners in the bonus. Fierce missed the front end of the 1-and-1. PC, Fish, thank you very much. And Brian and Fish, thank you very much. Here in Norman, Oklahoma, under 7 minutes remaining. An entertaining first half underway and a big game for the Sooners. On the bubble, the right side, according to ESPN bracketologist Joe Lenardi. And Kentucky, of course, projected as a 3 seed right now. And that's just the beginning of all the subplots of this matchup. Tonight, we've seen the return of Jackson Robinson. We've seen the return of Lamont Butler for the Cats. First time they've been in the starting 5 together since way back on February 8th. And, Richard, they've played pretty well so far.
They've caught their rhythm. Jackson Robinson missed a few shots early to get warmed up, but he heated up later on with some big baskets and some backdoor cuts to get in this offensive flow. But this is a huge opportunity for Oklahoma against a tough Kentucky team.
Elvis outside to Fears. Fears in traffic again. McGee working hard, but it's ripped away by Brandon Garrison. And Otega Owe in his return to Norman has been booed just about every time he's touched the basketball. 2 years here and then 1 year in Lexington. And you look at the production that was missed over the course of the last 2.5 weeks or so. It was enormous. You basically have 2 of your starting guards that have been on the shelf, and now back tonight, a great sign for Big Blue Nation.
Kentucky is getting healthy at the right time of the year. You got 2 veteran players who have been playing good basketball this season, getting back into the action. But what it really does is for Kentucky, it really establishes the depth. In their absence, there's been a lot of playing time and contributors by the bench. And as they're able to get healthy, this will be a dangerous team in the SEC and the NCAA tournament moving forward.
Yeah, players like Travis Perry receiving starts. Valuable minutes for Colin Chandler. Andrew Carr now healthy. That's also critical. McGee catches it in the lane. Up and in. High off the glass.
Well, that action was set up by a strong screen there by Muhammad McGee. Got freed up as Kentucky had 2-on-1. And he's able to finish down low after the screen roll action.
And 2 good friends matching up against each other. Moore and Owe. They texted as recently as 2 weeks ago. Not this week. Brandon Garrison, his second triple.
A great recognition by Garrison as McGee was slow to close out. He knocked down a tray ball earlier, feeling confident, and stroked another.
Fears to Moore, and he's fouled by Garrison. So Garrison picks up his first personal. And Otega Owe, Jalen Moore, good friends in his 2 years here. Especially last season. We confirmed it today. We asked Ortega, all right, how often are you talking with him? He goes, we're not talking this week. We will talk after the game. You told me that that's an unwritten rule. That's player code. There's no way you're talking before the game. We'll dap it up afterwards.
Absolutely. Maybe, depending on the outcome.
Right.
You know, it's one of those things, you look at them, you give them a head nod, and you acknowledge them at the jump circle.
And that's it.
Maybe you give them a fist bump, and that's it. But listen, it's late season in the basketball year. These are big opportunities for both teams. You're trying to get a big-time win. He's your opponent. You have to have the pleasantries later on.
Cats have made 7 straight, including 2 threes by Garrison. That now gives him 9 on the season. Trent Noah to Colin Chandler, 6 to shoot. Who wants it? Reyes saves it right to Kobe Elvis. Under 5 to go in the half. The lead is 5 for the Cats. And Miles, baseline. Sooners will maintain possession. Owe got a fingertip on it.
And Jalen Moore seemed to think that the ball was off of his fingertip. Doug Showers letting them know it was off of Tego Owe. Ball back to the Sooners.
Doug Showers will let him know in an efficient way. Veteran officiating crew here tonight with Doug Showers, Courtney Green, and Todd Austin. Good environment, too. And look, Big Blue Nation has showed up here. They've made their presence felt in a big way. You can see it in the stands at Lloyd Noble Center. And the Sooners coming off one of their biggest wins of conference play. Win against Mississippi State. 59 points in the second half. Looking to build on that victory. Elvis. McGee. Back to work. The pump fake. And a jump ball. Garrison held his ground. It'll stay on this end.
This crowd in Lloyd Noble seems to disagree. They might have a case. Muhammad Wagee. Yeah. Gets the offensive rebound, gets Garrison up in the air, comes across the body, catches some basketball.
And a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's most definitely a foul call, but nonetheless, baseline out of bounds opportunity for Oklahoma. This is a game you got to play through, though. You're going to have tough calls in a moment like this. You have to continue to play through it.
Goodine lost it on the way up. Sooners get it back, tapped away from Owe. Elvis, a nasty crossover, and a foul called with a hip check by Brea. And so that's going to be the second foul on Kobe Brea. But check that on Robinson and his second personal.
And that's a tough one on Robinson because the contact was initiated by Elvis as he was cutting the screen, trying to get into the body. Makes you wonder after the missed jump call being called on the previous possession. This is a result of Elvis going to the line to shoot for 2.
For those just tuning in on SEC Network, Jackson Robinson and Lamont Butler got the start, and Robinson missed his first 2 3-point opportunities. The second attempt was an air ball, and since then he's gone off. 3 for 6 from the floor. He's got 7 points and an assist. So again, I think if you're a Kentucky fan, you're watching closely. What can Jackson Robinson give us coming back from the wrist injury? And then what can Lamont Butler do with that left shoulder still wrapped up running the point?
And Robinson was able to get that point production off of jump shots. A 3-ball in a deep 2, then a backdoor cut within this offense that Kentucky's been able to run. So getting him freed up, getting some point production early on is very important for returning players to get their confidence.
Glenn Taylor called for the foul, holding Robinson. 15th foul against the Sooners. Full court
pressure here by the Sooners. And to change up the rhythm. Kentucky.
Entertaining game in Norman. 35-32. Under 4 to go in a fast-moving first half.